I'm Melissa.
And I'm Lisa.
We're real estate agents in the Shenandoah Valley.
We love where we live, and we can't wait to show you. Welcome to the channel.
Yeah, so this is a small exhibit we're calling Log Cabin Fever, and it is, I gotta count, 7 log cabin quilts from our collection at the museum. So these are all quilts that we own at the museum, and 6 of the 7 are from the 1800s. One is from the 1950s. Wow. One of the things I always like to talk about when we're talking about historic quilts is that what tends to survive is kind of the cream of the crop. So like those everyday quilts that were on people's beds and being used all the time often don't survive because they just get used to death.
I'm sorry, Mom.
No, quilts are meant to be used and loved.
I know, I have 4 that my husband's mother had made, and they have been used, abused, washed, dried, you know.
But that's part of the history too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so these all happen to be in really good shape. They probably weren't used much. Right. We have some in our collection that are in worse shape that were clearly used more. It just kind of depends.
This almost looks like satin.
It is silk.
That would be why.
It's silk, and then the little black squares are velvet. This is one that does need some conservation work. You can see like
the purple up here in the middle.
Silk is just shattering. And some of that was, you can kind of see crease lines. This quilt was folded in the same place for a long time before we got it, and that's part of what's happened here.
Amazing.
Part of it is also, it's just like 130-year-old silk. And there's not much you can do about that. They are all the work of a woman named Amy Pabst. She's out of West Virginia. And these are all what she calls micro-pieced. But they're all variations of a log cabin block as well. Okay. Which is why we paired them with our log cabins. But Amy does these incredibly tiny quilts. And one of the great things is it says how many pieces are in each quilt. So this purple and red one has over 16,000 pieces. It is.
That is the love of quilting.
Yes.
So Amy has taken this very traditional quilting style and kind of turned it on its head and made it into contemporary art quilts. So this one is called the Circus, and it's called that because in the center of each of these blue squares, Amy, what in the quilting world is called fussy cutting an elephant into the center of each of those squares.
She is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have a magnifying glass built by NASA.
That she's able to. It is amazing. You know, I'm realizing after touring here, this whole quilt making thing is a huge commitment. Time, energy.
Yeah. Well, so is relocating.
Yes.
I mean, that's what we do, right?
Yep.
And speaking of, this is actually a good time to say this, but if you are in the market, you might be, you might not be, but if you are in the market to buy, sell, rent, vacation in the Shenandoah Valley, Melissa and I are here to help.
We'd love to help. Yeah. Investments too, whatever you're looking for.
Yeah, so let's continue the tour.
Yeah.
This is what my mom and her church lady that kind of thing. Yes. Everyone did a square, however you wanted, and then they would come together and assemble the quilt.
Now this is Emily Martin, and she's from Virginia.
Yeah, so this little area here is a new space that we're doing a series of mini exhibits in. Okay. And this is, we're calling it Spotlight on Virginia Quilters. And it's really to honor and recognize kind of the unsung quilters of Virginia.
I think that's a fabulous idea.
So like people who aren't necessarily entering regional or national quilt shows, they're not out there winning awards, they're not, you know, on the big quilt shows on TV or anything. They're just kind of quietly quilting in their communities and supporting their quilt communities. So Emily Martin is our first honoree. She's from Woodbridge, and she does
The bird.
very traditional applique,
Beautiful.
but it's stunning technique.
Yeah.
And her, most of these are hand quilted as well, so she's still,
I mean, every stitch
Yeah.
is amazing.
she's got a little bit of everything. This one, like she did embroidery to get the rigging on the shoe.
Wow.
Yeah, sure, Emily.
But you can tell she loves it.
Mhm.
It's what she does.
Now, I mean, all of these quilts are utterly stunning.
Mhm.
When you are adjudicating a quilt to say, I think that this would be a good contender, what are some of the things that you look for?
Yeah, so for our exhibits, they all go through a committee. So we've got an exhibits committee that's
Nice.
10 or 11 people. So I'm on it, my curator is on it, and then some board members and some outside experts. So we're always looking for a couple things: the quality of the work or the craftsmanship. So if it's hand quilted, are their stitches even? You know, how small are the stitches? How good is their use of color? Different things like that. If it's machine quilted, is that well done? And does like the quilting play well with the pattern of the quilt? But then we're also looking to have a really balanced exhibition calendar.
Oh, sure.
So we always want to have traditional and art quilts on display at the same time. So we're always looking at that to say, like, where does this fit into what we want to be showing people and the story we're telling with quilting?